Hi, welcome back to another Crypto Dave video. So today I'm going to be going over my 2019 crypto goals, and this is the week 20 update. So every 4 weeks I do an in-depth update that goes over each of the different revenue streams that I set out at the beginning of the year. And if you want to go back and have a look at the previous updates, this is the fifth update, fifth 4-weekly update. If you want to look at the previous ones, they are all linked in the description below. But basically, if you haven't been following along, at the beginning of the year I split my kind of targets or sort of revenue targets into 5 different revenue streams. So that was staking, masternodes, trading, investing, and social. And basically I set a target of $100 a week. So this was kind of a nominal target that I was hoping I would meet by the end of the year. And when I say kind of meet, I was hoping that over the course of the year as a whole we would be averaging out at 100. So for stuff that is not producing as much now, I hope by the end of the year to be kind of producing more than $100, so to take it up to that kind of $100 average. And I said, throughout some of the previous kind of videos that, there was going to be a fair bit of variation, I think, between these different revenue streams. But hopefully overall we will be at around that kind of $500 a week average. And the good news is that this last 4 weeks things have really improved dramatically for some of my kind of revenue streams. So let's jump straight in and start as always with the staking revenue. So you can see this graph here, the green line here is a cumulative target. So this is the target. It's the same for each of the different revenue streams. So by week 20, obviously we're up to $2,000. This is where we want to be. And then the blue line here and within all of the graphs are the actual revenue that I've made. Now staking was always going to start off quite slowly because obviously there's a compounding kind of effect of kind of staking. As you stake more coins, you have more coins kind of like throughout the kind of year over time that you can stake. So the amount that you're kind of staking, the amount that you're kind of getting will increase. We were going to be reliant very heavily on the price increases with staking and also with kind of masternodes and some of our other revenue streams. But I think particularly with staking, we really need some good price action, I think, sort of second half of this year in order to get anywhere near where we want to be. We've had a few reasonable kind of weeks. But generally we're a long way off where we needed to be. We're possibly somewhere in the region of kind of 10% of where we want to be. So we've got a lot of kind of work to do. Now some of that will be done for us, just the accumulation of kind of coins. I don't think it'll be anywhere like quick enough to sort of get back towards this kind of target line, but hopefully we'll start to kind of move towards that a little bit more over the next kind of like quarter or kind of 2 quarters. But yeah, there's nothing really to report. I'm still pretty much got the same coins. I've got rid of a couple of small coins. I'm also trading a lot of my staking coins. So because they're kind of sat there and because they're quite volatile, some of these small cap coins, I do tend to trade them a bit. Now, obviously, whilst they're trading, what I tend to do is wait for a pump in price, and then I will sell either staking rewards or like a load of my staking kind of coins and then buy back in cheaper. And I'll either buy back the same amount and then keep the extra as BTC to do other stuff with, or I will sell for a certain amount of kind of BTC and then use that to buy back as many as I can when the price drops. So I have been doing a fair amount of kind of trading, not so much in the last few weeks, but the staking coins are probably one of the ones that it's affected most by the trading stuff. So let's jump over to masternodes. I've got 6 masternodes. I cover these in my weekly masternode shootout update video, and we're a little bit off of 25%, but not far off. I think the last few weeks we've started to see a little bit of an uptick. We've been scuppered a little bit by Bulwark in particular this year now. Only a few weeks into the year, we started off at around the sort of 25% mark, fraction better than we're doing now. And then you can see there's a slight tail off here, and basically it was a culmination of 2 things. The Bulwark dev team walked out on the kind of project. The project was taken over by the community, and the price really plummeted from that. And then Cryptopia, which was by far the largest exchange for Bulwark, has obviously now gone into a kind of administration, so that's really suppressed the price as well. And that was one of our sort of 2 or 3 most expensive masternodes in the experiment, so that did hit us substantially. But in the last few weeks we're starting to see some nice kind of pullbacks with some of the other kind of coins. So I think we should be, over the next kind of 4-week period, we should be around the sort of 25% of where we want to be. And we are reliant, along with another thing, some of the other things, with an increase in kind of prices. So if we do enter a bit of a bull market, and if Bitcoin continues to go up and that then trickles down into the major alts, and then from the major alts into some of the smaller alts, that should really help us out as well. But we shall see how things sort of pan out over the next kind of 4 weeks. But I'm reasonably kind of happy. I chose 6 masternodes at the beginning of the year, and I'm sticking with those. I'm not going to add extra masternodes in just to try and kind of hit this kind of target. My target at the beginning of the year was that if we had a good year, then the 6 that I chose should be good enough to kind of get us pretty near to the kind of target. So I'm still relatively hopeful. Obviously, the longer it goes on, where we're well below the line, the more difficult it is to make up that kind of that gap later. But yeah, I'm reasonably happy with how things have panned out so far with the masternodes. So let's jump over to trading, and this is a little bit more variation here. Now, the last 4 weeks I've been away on holiday for a week or so, and because of the big kind of spikes in price of kind of Bitcoin, I haven't been trading quite as much. Now, my kind of strategy on the trading front is I basically short some of the small cap altcoins that I own when they pump up in price. So what you tend to find is that the price is very volatile on some of these smaller coins. For example, over the last week, Volcanoes has increased by about 100%. Now, what will happen is when a coin like that kind of spikes up, I'll sell that, and then I will sit there and wait for the price to kind of come back down and then buy back kind of cheaper. So that's my main kind of trading revenue. I don't trade sort of BTC for Tether or anything like that. So I don't trade that. It's generally small cap kind of alts, not necessarily small cap. I mean, I'm trading other stuff. I've been doing a bit of trading on Digibyte recently. Neo and another coin that I've traded a reasonable amount throughout the kind of year so far, but I wait for kind of like a spike up in price that doesn't seem to be warranted. Generally in a period where Bitcoin is flat or maybe slightly kind of negative, and then wait for that kind of pullback to kind of rebuy in. But the last few weeks with Bitcoin sort of jumping about all over the place, it's been a little bit harder to kind of pick out the normal kind of trades I would do. And I've got a couple of open trades at the moment, so just missed out on this kind of last week. But we're pretty much halfway there, so just under $1,000. If a couple of the trades that are one closed today, and I think one might well close later today, I think we'd be at that 1,000 mark. We're only a fraction short of that, but we're about 50% of where we'd like to be. Now, ironically, whenever I do the kind of trades, I work it out in BTC and then kind of dollar amounts. Now, I haven't actually sold any of that BTC, so if I actually took the price of the BTC today as compared to when I kind of like acquired it through here, we would be almost, I did the figures earlier, and I think we'd be about 1,800 rather than 2,000, so we'd be pretty much on target. But that's obviously just the fluctuation in price, and I'm taking these kind of prices obviously as I trade them, because some people would be kind of trading and then selling that BTC as they go along for a profit. But we're about halfway where we need to be. I think with a continued run up on kind of prices, we should be there or thereabouts by the end of the year, hopefully, with the trading revenue. And then over to investing. Now, I've put the link to this portfolio below. This is the link here, so it's on Crypto Compare. Now, if you see down here, now in my videos at the end of last year, I told everybody end of November that I was starting to accumulate. When Bitcoin went down to about 4,000, I was like sort of 4,000 or anywhere under that, I was kind of happy to start accumulating. And I accumulated a bit through till the end of January, not quite as much as I wanted, but all of those figures are up substantially. So most of my Bitcoin purchases have kind of doubled in price over that kind of period. This bulwark figure, it's nowhere near as high as this. Basically, Crypto Compare, I think, is taking the prices for bulwark from Cryptopia, and when Cryptopia stopped trading, I think it's locked in here as a Satoshi value. So this value goes up and down, but I think basically they locked the bulwark value when Cryptopia went down as a Satoshi kind of value, and because Bitcoin's gone up, it looks like this is worth a lot, but these on the bulwark one particularly is not worth anything like it says here. But you can see here in this investment portfolio, I'm probably not going to buy any more in the next kind of few months. This is one I'm just going to sit and let run. And you can see the first purchase here back in May 2017, but there was a mixture of stuff here. So we had some Bitcoin and Ethereum. There was some quite heavy accumulation of kind of Navcoin here, which is done pretty appallingly. You can see here we're down sort of 60 to 7, somewhere between sort of 60 and 80%, so probably an average down about 70 odd percent, 70-75% for that. So let's hope for a bit of a kind of a pullback in Navcoin. But this is, I think, not a huge kind of portfolio by any stretch of the imagination. So I wanted to kind of show that, with just, a few kind of open positions, nothing particularly kind of crazy in terms of kind of volumes, how that would pan out if the prices have gone up. And they have gone up substantially. So you can see here We had a very good first week of the year, and then we dropped below the kind of target, and we traded well under that. We were sort of moving up along with the kind of like the line of where we wanted to be, but well under that. And then back here, week 13, we got back to basically where we wanted to be. We had a nice spike up, moved sideways for a few weeks, and then we had those two massive kind of like jump ups, so like 2 and 3 weeks ago. This last week's kind of consolidated, but we are massively ahead of where we want to be with the investing revenue. So we had a target obviously of $2,000, and we're somewhere around I think it's about 10,500, something like that. So that's been a really positive kind of outcome. Just really the increase in price, you know, Bitcoin basically doubling over the last sort of 3 months. Sorry, about 4 or 5 months actually. But that's been really good. So that has helped us overall. If we jump over to the social, this has been the worst, I think, kind of by far. So this is basically just YouTube revenue. So I'm literally just making a few bucks a week, sort of $4 or $5. It's practically nothing from kind of YouTube. The ad revenue, even though I think kind of views have been up slightly over the last month or so, or last few months, the ad revenue has been declining kind of month on month, not by a huge amount, but there's a gradual downward trend with that. The other bits and pieces here, I've got my Vulture affiliate link. So you'll notice on the channel I've done quite a few masternode setup videos and things like that, and I have an affiliate link for Vulture, which is a VPS provider, and a few people have signed up through that, so thanks very much. I think I've probably had maybe half a dozen sign-ups this year, so not like loads, but every time somebody signs up and then uses a service for I think a month or two, then they credit my account. I think it's $10 to offset some of my masternode kind of hosting costs, so that's been useful. So you can see a few of these little kind of jumps up here, but very poor social and other revenue. I do upload my YouTube videos to DTube as well, which goes onto the Steemit platform, and I do receive a tiny amount of kind of Steam for that, so I should probably take note of that and any other kind of little bits and pieces. I do have a few affiliate links, not a huge amount, but in the bottom of each of my videos, the bottom of the description, I have like almost like a kind of signature kind of box, which has links to various things. So it's got links to Vulture, and it's got links to my Coinbase and BAT, so the Brave browser. So if you're not using the Brave browser, I actually just moved over, and like a lot of people, I'd had it downloaded for probably about best part of a year, the various different kind of versions, and I used it from time to time, but I do most of my kind of stuff on Chrome, and then basically I moved in the last few weeks, I moved all of my crypto kind of windows and tabs that I have open on a daily basis over to Brave. I really like it as a kind of browser. I think it's a fair amount quicker than some browsers, and you can also earn BAT, so basic attention token, if you use it. So this only sort of started I think in the last month or so, but there's a reward settings. You can choose to opt into Brave rewards, so you can choose to opt into kind of ads, and then you accumulate kind of BAT, and then you can tip people as well. So I did a couple of test tips earlier in the month. You can see there, one to CoinMarketCap, one to Crypto Compare. But I've got, what have I got in there, 5 BAT that I've earned this month. It's not like huge amounts, but if you want a browser that's quicker, that cuts out all the kind of advertising and lets you just see ads on your own terms, I'd really recommend checking out kind of Brave. I do have an affiliate link below. You don't have to sign up through that. If you do, I think I don't know, I think I'll probably get a few back tokens, and I don't know if you do as well, maybe some extra ones, I'm not quite sure, but I've got the link for that below. It's well worth checking out. I think it's faster because of the inbuilt ad blocking and stuff like that. I think it's a lot quicker than some of the other browsers out there, so maybe worth having a look. But that's basically the kind of social and kind of other revenue. I struggle to see really how I can get this much higher. I think if we have a real bull run this year, then maybe there'll be a flood of people to YouTube looking for kind of crypto related videos, and I might be able to take advantage a little bit of some of that. Maybe the amount of views and ad revenue and that will go up a little bit, but I don't think we're going to be able to get anywhere near we need to be here. I think my channel realistically would have to be probably about 10 times the size of what it is at the moment, and I'd have to be sort of like plugging affiliate stuff pretty heavily, I think, in order to get anywhere near these kind of revenue streams. But anyway, we will plod on with it and see what happens. And then you can see here total revenue. So as I mentioned before, really driven by this investing revenue, this massive spike up has pulled the whole portfolio as a whole above our target line. So we're above target now. So target would be $10,000 as of week 20, and we're around, I think it was around 11.5, 12,000. So that's really positive. So really just driven by this big spike in price of kind of BTC. So you can see there we've been languishing, apart from the first week, languishing well below our kind of target time, our target revenue targets, but we're now ahead of those. So that's really a good news. Within a few weeks, we'll probably be kind of, these lines will probably be crossing unless we have another big move up in Bitcoin, but hopefully that will happen. I think there's quite a lot of kind of positive sentiment in the kind of market at the moment. I think maybe we need to kind of consolidate for kind of like a month or two, but then hopefully we'll start to see some increases. And you know, I don't think we're going to be doing $50,000 Bitcoin this year or anything like that. I think we've got probably a reasonably slow, steady increase back towards that kind of 20,000 mark, and I think from then we're going to start to see really accelerated kind of growth. So I think probably next kind of target, we need to kind of get above $10,000. I think there's quite a psychological target there, and then I think once we get above 10,000, I think we'll be sort of like tracking up towards that 20,000 maybe over the next 6 to 9 months, and then maybe end of the year, beginning of next year, sort of early next year, hopefully we back to our all-time high, and we can see that next kind of parabolic move back up to wherever we're going to go in the next kind of bull run. But it'll be interesting to see. And then finally, before I finish, I haven't really done anything with my coin accumulation targets. These are 8 coins I think will do pretty well in the next kind of bull run. So they're kind of long-term kind of like accumulation kind of targets. I haven't really acquired anything within these this last month. Most of the trading, the small amount of trading I've done, I've just basically got some extra kind of staking coins and stuff like that. So I haven't really bought into any of these kind of coins. Obviously with the big run up in price, I'm kind of waiting in some ways to see what's going to happen before jumping into kind of any of these. But these are my kind of like long-term accumulation targets. No EOS and no IOTA, but I've got a reasonable number of Stellar now, almost halfway towards my Stellar kind of goal. Everything else pretty low. Neo, quarter of the way there. Everything else pretty low compared to where I'd like to be eventually. But that's it for this video. Thanks very much as always for watching. Be really good to hear your kind of comments below. So you know, let me know anything you'd like to know more about, anything that's not clear, any kind of tweaks or sort of suggestions you have. Particularly I think for this social and other, if there's anything that you think would be really popular, anything you'd like me to kind of cover crypto related wise, anything like that, that would be really good to hear. But apart from that, thanks very much for watching as always, and hopefully I'll see you on the next video. Have a great day. Bye bye.